Good day and welcome to Conspiracy News with Michael Strange. I was streaming with absolutely no sound, chilling to the music, not even realizing it wasn't broadcasting to you guys. Anyway, whatevs, we're here now and the sound is working, everything's good. And we're back to talk about, of course, the conspiracy that resides in everything in the world around us. And yeah, that's really how we look at the news. And not because I think there's probably a number of ways here that a number of reasons that we do it this way is just because that the narratives seem to be so tight with the mainstream media that they don't let any air in intentionally, right? I think that's the key here. And so given that and all the rest of this stuff, it's just I think it's important to kind of look at it with a different perspective. Like they're always trying to pull the wool over our eyes. And so when I look at a news cycle, when I look at information, when I look at what they're trying to tell us, I think it's important to kind of parse it just from that frame of mind. It may be a little paranoid. Sure, you guys can say that or say that, and people say that about me, and that's fine. Like nobody's perfect, and criticism is okay. We're allowed to criticize each other, but that's just part of it. That's why we do it. That's why I've always done it this way. And yeah, that's what's up. That's what we're going to do today. And we're streaming this live on Twitch as always, and exclusively on Twitch for 24 hours. And then this gets cut up and sent to YouTube and sent to a podcast called, of course, Conspiracy News with Michael Strange. So yeah, that's what's on deck. That's what we're going to do tonight, today actually, and just kind of hang out and talk about conspiracy news for about an hour or so. And this is episode 3. So so far so good. Everything is looking tight and feeling good. And let's get to the news. We will do read chat as we go. This is live. This is interactive. This is how we've always done it. This is how we'll always do it. So if you guys have comments on that need to be read here, just type them in the chat. We'll read them and add them to the show as we go. And that's that. That's pretty much that. Let's see. And with that said, let's get to the news here. Let's get to the news. Let's start with this one. This is from reported by Yahoo, of course, one of our favorite sources, news.yahoo.com. Let me link it in the chat here, and you guys can follow along if you like. All right, so this is headline reads this: Hunger study predicts 168,000 pandemic-linked child deaths. Okay, so everybody knows that this COVID bit has been what would you call it? Bad, among other things, but it's been widely reported by many media sources that it doesn't really affect children. It kind of comes and goes. Their immune system is so robust at that age that it just kind of chews it up and spits out the COVID. And then, as far as we're aware, there's no long-term effects on children. Okay, well, let's read some of this. What they say on Yahoo News. This is in Paris, actually. So the virus is one thing, but then check this out. The article goes like this: Economic fallout from the coronavirus pandemic has set back decades of progress against the most severe forms of malnutrition and is likely to kill 168,000 children before any global recovery takes hold, according to a study released Monday by 30 international organizations. The study from the Standing Together for Nutrition Consortium draws on economic and nutrition data gathered this year as well as targeted phone surveys. Saskia Osendarp, who led the research, estimates an additional 11.9 million children, most in South Asia and sub-Saharan Africa, will suffer from stunting and wasting, the most severe forms of malnutrition. Women who are pregnant now will deliver children who are already malnourished at birth, and these children are disadvantaged from the very start, said Osendarp, executive director of the Micronutrient Forum. An entire generation is at stake, he continues there. So let's see. The fight against malnutrition has been an unheralded global success until the coronavirus pandemic struck. So I think it's probably suffices to say that this is just another tragedy of 2020 and what this is going to kind of lead to in the coming years here. We're talking about just people starving to death. Unfortunately, in this case, it's children. It's terrible. It's awful. And I think not from a conspiracy perspective, this one in particular, this is just tragic. And I think it's important to point out that sometimes in Western countries, the first world, we forget that these things are happening out there. Like we're sheltered from it, and so a good reminder, and to kind of hopefully keep us locked into what the world is really about, and maybe give a little bit here and there to some of these the better funds. I'm not sure. I'm going to say some of these folks that raise money to help impoverished countries are not the best at getting money to where it needs to be. So I'm not going to recommend any charities or anything like that. But I do just want to say, just pointed out that there's tragedies going on that are related to COVID that actually don't really have anything to do with the virus itself, other than the kind of the secondary effects of this. And so just as an example, this is one of them. Ugly, tragic. And I think it's just important that, again, we don't forget. Don't take your eye off the ball. These things are still happening out there. These things will continue to happen. Once this crisis has abated and it's back to where we were, actually gaining, feeding people instead of people starving, that there's going to be another problem. So just not to be a downer. I hate being that downer guy, but just pointing this out. It's important. Like I said, let's keep our head in the game, keep our eye on the ball, what's going on in the actual world itself. So, yeah, terrible, tragic. I don't know about this particular organization, so I'm not going to recommend them because I just don't know. There's some of these places they'll actually do. Like I was saying, they'll get, take $5 and put, only $1 gets to where it needs to be, and the rest kind of gets swallowed up into bureaucracy and some other things. So anyway, just point it out, take a look, and don't take your eye off the ball. The world is still hurting out there, and people are still hurting, and et cetera, so on. So I just wanted to point that out. Again, I think it's part of being a one of those citizens that citizen of the world, right? That hopefully make the world a better place if we know what's really going on here. Okay, so off the downer stuff, let's get on to one of our favorite hate pieces here, or favorite hate hate sources. This is Snopes.com, and they report this: did Alex Jones say Biden would be removed from office one way or another? The comment prompted some to state that Jones had issued a veiled threat against Biden. Now, Snopes, as many of you know, is a fact-checking. They started as a fact-checking organization or website or whatever the hell it happens to be, right? So we've actually done quite a bit on Snopes in the past, because they just keep dropping weird fact checks, right? They're clearly very biased to the liberal media, and that's just what it is. That's what they do. That's really what they do. So it's weird how we have this post-truth society, and fact checks are not really actual facts of the matter, right? They're just another partisan piece of the puzzle when it comes to sculpting and creating their own reality. So anyway, just wanted to point this out. If you guys hadn't seen this, let's see if I can get the clip here. Okay, so so the claim is this from Snopes. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones said President-elect Joe Biden will be removed from office one way or another. And let's see. This is a correct attribution, right? And of course, this doesn't surprise me a single bit. I did listen to the clip. I meant to pull it up and actually bring it to bear here, and we could listen to it, but I couldn't find it again right before we started. So it's okay, because I did listen to it, and he did say this, but it was kind of in a slightly different context. I think he was kind of saying that, kind of alluding to the fact that the election, possibly could be overturned at this point, just kind of beating his chest and hollering like Alex Jones does, whatever. I'm not exactly sure he was making threats against Joe Biden, but then he was also saying that in a certain sense that maybe Biden won't make 4 years as president, right? So anyway, so Snopes, as usual, is like, it's a conspiracy theorist. Get him. So here, let's read some of this. During a violence-filled weekend of protest by supporters of U.S. President Donald Trump, conspiracy theorist Alex Jones made statements about Trump's soon-to-be successor, President-elect Joe Biden, which some observers interpreted as a threat. The statement by Jones, who runs the conspiracy trolling network, See what they did there? Conspiracy trolling network InfoWars was made on December 12th, 2020 during a rally in Washington, D.C. by Trump supporters protesting the results of the presidential election, which they claimed was rife with fraud. 4 people were stabbed and 1 person was shot during the weekend's protests. Dozen more were arrested. Quote, "I don't know who's going to the White House in 38 days, but I sure know this," Jones screamed into a microphone. Joe Biden is a globalist, and Joe Biden will be removed one way or the other. All right, so that's the context, right? That's what they say. And the commentary was captured on video and posted to Twitter by journalist Zachary Petrizzo. Okay, and so they actually did. So when I looked at this first, the tweet was not embedded here, but it is here. So let's listen to it. Let's add this to the show for posterity, and we see what they reported. Let's see what he actually had to say. Usually when they do this, they trim it down so they only get exactly what they said, not what they said before or after, but who cares? It's Alex Jones. He's full of bluster. We all know this. But like I said, Snopes just salivating here, like, get him, Alex Jones, get him. Let's hear what he actually said here and see if there's some kind of legs to this. All right, and Alex Jones action.
We will never back down to the satanic, pedophile, globalist, New World Order and their walking dead, reanimated corpse, Joe Biden. And we will never recognize him. President Trump had zero connection to Russians, no proof, 4 years of investigation. With the Bidens, it's open and shut. So I don't know who's going to the White House in 38 days, but I sure know this. Joe Biden is a globalist, and Joe Biden will be removed one way or another. We will never back down to the Satan.
All right, there it goes. That's repeating. But okay, so was that a threat? I don't know about that. Bluster, maybe. Threat, I'm not so sure. So let's read a little bit more of this. From Snopes, fact-checking whether the claim was that Alex Jones, let's see, what was the claim again? Straight from Snopes. The claim is this. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones said President-elect Joe Biden will be removed from office one way or another. So there's that. Yeah. I don't know. Threat? You tell me. If you think that's a threat, fine. I'm not so sure. I don't think he's calling for any kind of violence here. But notice though, how in the top of the article here, it's like, during a violence-filled weekend, some people were stabbed. On and on. 4 people stabbed, 1 person shot during the weekend's protest. Dozens were arrested. And so they kind of put the cart before the horse, and then they blame it on Alex Jones, right? They're like, well, wait a minute. Now this is this guy calling for violence, and there's violence happening. So clearly, InfoWars, it's the guy to go after. Anyway, like I said, it's no surprise they've been coming after Alex Jones, and he does say some stupid things, but to kind of it's his way of marketing himself, I guess. You say enough stupid things, you get enough attention, and you end up in the news, and there you go. That's how it goes. So let's read just a little bit more of this from Snopes, the preeminent premier fact checker of all things political and otherwise. So here we go. So the conspiracy theory promoted by Jones resulted in the families of those children being targeted with death threats. We're talking about the Newtown, Connecticut shooting, Sandy Hook, of course, right? So so they have to link it back to that because it's probably one of the more incendiary things he's ever said, and that he claimed that Sandy Hook, the shooting, was fake and it was a false flag and some other BS. And whatever, right? That's been even he talked about that on the Joe Rogan podcast and everything else. So whatever. Then he's retracted that statement and said, no, I apologize for that, blah, blah. So anyway, right? This continues. The conspiracy theory promoted by Jones resulted in the families of those children being targeted with death threats, stalking, and harassment from Jones's followers. At least 2 people have been arrested for crimes associated with harassing victims' families because of the hoax conspiracy theory. And then they add, the term globalist is a reference to an overarching conspiracy theory often promoted by Jones, which posits that a secret cabal of powerful people is plotting to subvert U.S. sovereignty. The word is often used as an anti-Semitic slur. Okay. Now this. I wasn't aware that just saying the word globalist in and of itself is an anti-Semitic slur. So he in this clip he didn't say anything about that, did he? I don't think so. Like, we can listen again. It'd probably be a waste of our time. We heard it once, but now suddenly you use the term globalist and it's used as an anti-Semitic slur. All right. Well, you see how these things work, right? Get him, Snopes. Okay, so Trump's own administration has undermined Trump's persistent claims that the election, which he lost by an estimated 7 million votes and 74 electoral college points, was fraudulent, stating that it was in fact the most secure election in American history. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, you get the point, right? Snopes is not to be trusted one way or the other. Is this a threat? Well, no. He did say this for sure. Is this a threat? I would not classify it as such, and I don't know that you're going to have a small group of people heading to the White House to go take down Joe Biden either. So anyway, so while we're on Snopes, just a sec here, let's check what's going on the other side of what they're talking about. So now we know President-elect Joe Biden is what he is. He was elected to the presidency to be the next president, and whether however you want to look at that and however it happened, it is what it is. It's going to be, despite the Hail Mary court cases and all this other stuff they're trying to pull. This is the case. This is going to be the case. But anyway, so Snopes.com, the fact checker, is fact checking this now. Jill Biden, the wife of Joe Biden. Is Jill Biden a doctor? It is not uncommon for those with doctoral degrees to use the title doctor. All right, here we go. So the claim is this: Dr. Jill Biden is not a medical doctor and is thus erroneously using the title doctor. Dr. Jill Biden. All right, this is a mixture. It's a mixture, right? So she's not a doctor per se. She's not a doctor. But it's when we're talking about making threats, we can make wide-ranging claims about him saying to go down to the White House and start beating people up or whatever. But if it's this on the other side, you have to go, well, it's a mixture, and here's why. What is true? Jill Biden received her doctorate in education from the University of Delaware in January 2007. What's false? The future First Lady is not a medical doctor, nor did she receive a degree in medicine. Okay, well, now let's split some hairs and let's make sure that let's just read a little bit of this. Let's see. The question whether the First Lady elect was a doctor came after December 11th opinion piece by the Wall Street Journal, blah, 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 where they said that is there a doctor in the house? Not if you need an MD. Okay, so of course they were kind of a MD means medical doctor, and so she is clearly not, but she uses the term Dr. Jill Biden because she has a doctorate in, what does she have a doctor? Here we go. Madam First Lady Mrs. Biden, Jill, blah, blah, I don't want to read that. Okay, so she has here we go. She did not receive a degree in medicine. However, the future First Lady received 2 master's degrees from West Chester University and Villanova University, as well as a doctorate in education from the University of Delaware in January 2007. An academic accomplishment that warrants the prefix of doctor. But anyway, right, so it's a mixture, right? But it certainly isn't, get her. She's not a medical doctor, get her. No, they play patty cake with the lefties, and they play go get him with the conspiracy theorists, and Alex Jones is a special case. So anyway, it's fine. But Snopes is Snopes, and that's that, and I think that's probably enough. Anyway, let's see. We got what's up, Johnson's out there. I see Easty. Thanks for being here. Ark, hello, Elisha. Okay, so all right. Let's see. What do we got? All right. So that's enough on Snopes. We talk about Snopes often, and they're going to continue to give us some juicy fact checks that are, they'll say mostly true when they're actually kind of mostly false, and go after people when it is what they do, right? It is what they do. Okay, so let's keep on moving here. Let's go to phys.org. Now, this is pretty cool. Let's go to space. Get off planet Earth and actually talk about some stuff that's happening in space. Now, this is from, again, phys.org, and its headline is this. Japan's space agency finds ample soil and gas from asteroid. Now, this just happened. This is pretty cool, actually, so let's read a little bit of this. If you guys haven't seen this yet, it's worth looking at. And this is one we actually haven't covered on the other show, Troubled Minds Radio. Oh, by the way, before we get too far, we are live. So if you guys want to be part of the show today, you can give us a call at 702-957-1037. TroubledMinds.org is the official website. You can click the Discord link there and join the show with Discord, and that's what we're doing. So if you're interested, you guys want to talk about this stuff or anything else, we got open lines for you and a Discord as well. So there we go. Just want to point that out, make it clear. We always do these live, and I want to make sure that you guys are fully aware of that if you're new and just showing up for the first time. Okay. So anyway, this is pretty cool. So here's a photograph of the actual sample soils. Let's see. All right. We'll pull that up in a sec and look at it full screen. Okay, so officials from Japan's space agency said Tuesday that they have found more than the anticipated amount of soil and gases inside a small capsule the country's Hayabusa-2 spacecraft brought back from a distant asteroid this month, a mission they praised as a milestone in planetary research. The Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency said its staff initially spotted some black particles sitting on the bottom of the capsule's sample catcher when they pulled out the container on Monday. By Tuesday, scientists found more of the soil and gas samples in a compartment that stored those for the first of Hayabusa's 2 touchdowns on the asteroid last year. Quote, "We have confirmed a good amount of sand apparently collected from the asteroid Ryugu, along with gases," the Hayabusa-2 project manager Yuichi Tsuda said in a video message during an online news conference. "The samples from outside of our planet, which we have long dreamed of, are now in our hands." Tsuda called the successful return of the asteroid soil and gas samples a major scientific milestone. And I'd have to agree. So they sent this Hayabusa-2 was a spacecraft that they sent out to this particular asteroid named, what's the name of this asteroid again? Let's see. It is from the I'll get it in a sec. But anyway, and they brought back actual samples, like soil samples, gas samples from this asteroid. I think it was 2 million miles away. Yeah, let's read this. Oh, sorry, 300 million. Okay, so the pan-shaped capsule, 40 centimeters in diameter, was dropped by Hayabusa-2 from space to a predetermined spot in a sparsely populated Australian desert on December 6th at the end of its 6-year round trip to Ryugu. That's the asteroid, Ryugu. More than 300 million kilometers, or 190 million miles from Earth. That is an unbelievably long way, and pretty cool that they were actually able to successfully pull this off. The probe landed twice on the asteroid itself, collected these samples, and they're just now going through the information here, trying to find out, what's inside, what it's made of, these types of things. So here we go. Let's read just a little bit more, and then we'll talk about what this means to a conspiracy theorist, and I'm calling that myself that. So here we go. So the capsule arrived in Japan last Tuesday for research that scientists hope will provide insights into the origins of the solar system and life on Earth. So Hirataka Sawada, a JAXA scientist, was the first to look inside the capsule's sample catcher. Sawada said he was almost speechless with joy when he found that the samples inside included some that were, as expected, dust size, but also some the size of pebbles. Soil samples and photos shown in Tuesday's representation look like heaps of dark coffee grounds mixed with granules. Sawada said the tightly sealed capsule successfully brought back asteroid gases that are clearly different from the air on Earth, a first sample return from gases from outer space. So pretty hot stuff here. Like this is science at its best. And who knows what's on that asteroid, right? Asteroid Ryugu. And the deal here is that makes me a little bit nervous. We just had a pandemic, didn't we? We're still in the middle of this. They say they got the vaccine, and this is going out, and this is going to be gone by summer, right? But we talked about hungry kids and how some of this the pandemic has some lasting effects that even who knows, a year from now might still be going on, a couple years, or getting worse. You never know. But here's the thing. So now we pull this. There's this. Okay, so there's this notion called panspermia. All right, panspermia, and what that means is that life was seeded from different things flying around galaxies, right? So like you get asteroids, you get comets, you get things that maybe pick up some bacteria or whatever from wherever they got it from, and then they bring it back to to Earth, right? As they land and they crash into things, you get things bouncing off of things in space, crashing into other things, and they say this is one of the theories of how life actually gets spread around the cosmos. And this is the case, right? And there's actually some sort of life, like some sort of maybe alien life on this, like maybe something we haven't really identified or quantified yet. That's a little bit terrifying, don't you think? That like this is how like a bad science or maybe a good science fiction movie actually kind of starts, right? They're like, yeah, science did something good. Let's pull the samples off of the asteroid and bring it back to Earth, and we have these gases and these pebbles and things. And then they bring it back to the lab and pop it open, and there's some sort of alien gas that kind of leaks out and takes over their brain, and geez, who knows, right? Like this is exactly where this starts, and exactly, where well, who knows where this is going to lead, but hopefully to some good stuff and some better understanding in science, and not an alien gas floating out and causing some sort of a brand new space pandemic that hits the world hard, because that's really not what we need right now. But anyway, pretty cool stuff. This just happened. This was December 6th where it landed, I think they said, and they're now going through the process of trying to safely open this stuff up and get into the dirt. There you go. There's a good look at the some of the pebbles and dirt and stuff they scooped from a meteor nearly 300 million kilometers away. That's ridiculous. But pretty cool stuff. Again, like if you're into science, you're into space, I thought this was worth talking about. And then also maybe cringe a little bit, hoping that there's not some sort of like parasitic bacterial or a virus from space that's lurking in the dirt here, trying to, all right. Here we go. Actually, let's see. Here's another one. This is the other article. This is from Yahoo as well. On the Hayabusa-2, pieces of the asteroid found inside the space capsule. I'm going to link this as well. You guys can check that out. So definitely cool stuff. Again, what do you think about this? And all right. So on and so forth. Okay, now let's go to, how about this? Now we have China. China back in the news. China's always in the news because, of course, they're one of the superpowers of the world, and they take a bunch of flack for human rights abuses and all the rest of this. But if you haven't been paying attention to the news, they're having we had the Donald Trump presidency that was kind of amping up the trade war with China and tariffs, and that's been widely covered in the West. But in Australia, they're having some trouble here with China. Like China is really kind of giving it to Australia with some trade war business of their own. So let's see what this is. Headline is this from CNN.com, the most trusted source in news, of course. Australia deeply troubled by reports of Chinese restrictions on its coal. Okay, so this is trade war stuff. The trade fight between China and Australia appears to be escalating, with Beijing reportedly placing new restrictions on imports of Australian coal. Australian Trade Minister Simon Birmingham on Tuesday said he was deeply troubled by new reports in Chinese state media that the country's top economic planner has effectively banned certain coal imports from Australia. The Global Times, a state-run tabloid, reported last weekend that the country's National Development and Reform Commission has given power plants approval to buy overseas coal without restrictions, except from Australia. Except from Australia. If true, the reports would indicate discriminatory trade practices being deployed by Chinese authorities, Birmingham told Australia's Radio National. China has already banned or slapped tariffs on a range of other Australian exports. And so I saw this probably 2.5 weeks ago. Hadn't really talked about it because when the first like say step one of a trade war begins, nothing really comes of it typically, right? It doesn't typically escalate, but now we're getting some escalation here. So not only have they been putting tariffs on Australian goods, now they're actually giving them the business in the coal industry. So here we go. Asked by reporters on Tuesday about the reports, China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs directed questions to the relevant authorities. But spokesman Wang Wenbin did acknowledge that Chinese authorities have recently taken relevant measures against certain Australian products exported to China in accordance with the laws and regulations. That's a lot of words and a whole lot of saying nothing, but yeah. So Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, meanwhile, told reporters in Australia on Tuesday that the government is seeking clarification on the reports, adding that the country has yet to hear from the Chinese government. He called reports that China is blocking Australian coal a bad outcome for the trading relationship between the two nations. Our relations have been deteriorating since April, when Morrison called for an international inquiry into the origins of the coronavirus pandemic. Beijing at the time called that move political manipulation. So, of course, then we have trade war escalating. You know, China realizes that it has a huge stranglehold on many industries the world over, and they're trying to gain more and more on top of that. So, of course, you criticize them on coronavirus, then there's problems, right? We got major problems here. So anyway, something to keep an eye on as this maybe hopefully goes away. And like I said, there's problems here. There's problems. We're not the only ones that are having beef with China one way or the other. So they're kind of doing their thing the world over and being China being China. So. Let's keep an eye on this as we do, and we'll do exactly that, and it's what we do on this show, and we'll continue looking, keeping an eye on it, and hopefully, like I said, it doesn't get worse. All right, we are live. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. This is Conspiracy News with Michael Strange, kind of looking at the world news and the stuff that the mainstream doesn't really tell you. Some of it may be a little glitzy, some of it may not be. But this is kind of I think these are the important things to note when you're wondering about what's actually going on in the world. Because, like I said, you turn on Fox News, you turn on CNN, and they're not going to tell you anything about this shit. They don't do it. They're not going to do it, and they never will do it because it's all propaganda all the time, and so et cetera, so on. Okay, here we go. Let's go to this one here. This is reported by the BBC.com, and let's see. This is Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell. Everybody remembers Jeffrey Epstein's right-hand woman that was actually helping him procure underage girls for exploitation. Everybody remembers this story, right? It hasn't completely gone away. So this is reported today, and Ghislaine Maxwell has asked a U.S. judge to release her under a proposed $28.5 million bail package as she awaits trial on sex crime charges. The British socialite is accused of helping the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein groom young girls. A court filing released on Monday said Miss Maxwell vehemently maintains her innocence and asked to be freed from jail until her trial. She wants instead to be confined to her home and protected by armed guards. Judge Allison Nathan could rule on this latest bail question in New York by the end of the year. Miss Maxwell's previous request for bail, when she was arrested in July, was denied for clearly obvious reasons, right? She has means, she's rich, she can disappear, and yeah, so I think she's probably a flight risk, you would say, in my opinion, right? If you're a judge, I would say yeah, or maybe she ends up, at the bottom of the ocean type of situation, like Ghislaine Maxwell didn't kill herself. We can probably say that now, which is a terrible thing to say, but well. Well, she's got information on the most powerful people in the world, so it's kind of what you can expect a little bit. So anyway, Miss Maxwell was in a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein in the 1990s. The financier died in a prison cell in August last year as he awaited trial on sex trafficking charges, more than a decade after he was convicted for soliciting prostitution from a minor. Now, 4 of the charges against Miss Maxwell relate to the years between 1994 and 1997, when prosecutors say she helped Epstein groom girls as young as 14. The other 2 charges are allegations of perjury in 2016. So she faces up to 35 years in prison if convicted in her trial, which is scheduled to begin next July. So this is she's got to stay in jail until July, till trial comes, right? Holy smokes. Yeah, that's a long time. That's a long time. So the court filing released on Monday said that Miss Maxwell's husband would post a bond to support her bail application. Financial documents within the filing said he had been married since 2016, but do not name her partner. I didn't even know she was married. Interesting. So her lawyers said the multi-million-dollar bail proposal represents all of their joint assets, including 3 homes. Miss Maxwell wants to stay in New York and have her day in court so that she can clear her name and return to her family, the filing reportedly said, adding that the 58-year-old was not the person the media has portrayed her to be. Well, I think that's what you would probably say. no matter what. Even if you were that person, right? I think probably. So this is going to be an interesting couple of several months regarding this case because, as we know, as Epstein was in jail awaiting trial and the doom that was about to come onto him, he ended up, suicided. Suicided, they call it. Yeah. Yeah. What's up? Johnson says, let's see. Flight risks make me laugh. Should be more organized at airports. American jail sentences are mega. LOL. Yeah, agreed. She gets 5 years UK for that, and anything kids deserves life, but still, yeah. I mean, like we'll see what happens again, right? Like there's a ton of documentation. I think the most curious thing about this case is that they have all the information from Epstein, right? Like they went to his islands and they did all this stuff, and they pulled all this literal evidence out, and we haven't really seen it, right? And I know for a court case you're going to try and keep this stuff under wraps because you don't really want to tip your hand and let the defense, like there's a process for this. There's discovery and all these other things in court. There's rules, so you can't really just let all the information out. But it's a little bit mind-boggling to me that we haven't heard anything, like kind of no leaks about what they found on the island or any of like that his house that they're about to demolish. They sold one of his homes, I think in Florida it was, to a new developer who's going to just knock it down. I mean, there's evidence. There's going to be evidence there, but it just seems like we're not. We're going to collect the evidence and make it disappear into the bowels of the government. It doesn't make sense to me. A little bit disheartening that. People can get away with atrocious crimes like this. So, yeah, anyway, all right, so there we go. Let's see, what else do we got? Here's this one. How about this one? Let's go back to COVID for just a sec. And this one isn't too bad. This is kind of talking about the vaccine. And it should be a good thing here, hopefully. We'll see. We'll see. But, rushed vaccines and all. But this is from Gizmodo.com. Headline is this: nervous about COVID-19 vaccines? Here's how scientists are feeling. This reported yesterday at 6:10 p.m. So let's see. As the first COVID-19 vaccines roll out across the U.S., some of us are chanting "Inject me now," while others are anxious about potential side effects. I reached out to 24 scientists and public health experts to see how they're feeling about these vaccines. I asked them if they're planning to get a vaccine when it's available, as well as what concerns, if any, they might have, and what they would say to people who are uneasy about vaccination. Across the board, all of them expressed wanting to take the vaccine as soon as they can, saying they feel confident that the clinical trial process has done its job of vetting these vaccines for public use. Okay. Yeah, it says, yet some people are worried about taking a vaccine. Some of this fear can be traced to debunked myths about how these or other vaccines work. mRNA vaccines are not changing our body's DNA, for example. Some people may wonder whether political pressure encouraged scientists or public health agencies to take shortcuts along the way. So here's one. Here's what one of the people said that this article is by Ed Cara, C-A-R-A, and again by Gizmodo. So here's what one of the public health experts had to say that he reached out to. Quote, I am a frontline healthcare worker who interacts with numerous patients who are COVID-19 positive on a regular basis. I think it is important to not only protect myself, but also my colleagues, friends, family members, and other patients, said Krutika Kupali, a physician and assistant professor in the Division of Infectious Diseases at the Medical University of South Carolina. So there you go. That's what some people are saying. That's what some of these health experts are saying. I think you would expect that. And hopefully this is the end of things. I don't mean like that in a bad way. I mean they get back to normal bit. So this is I've always maintained this COVID thing is definitely it's a real thing. People are really dying. Again, the numbers are up in the air. It's up to you to kind of see how the media maybe has spun it or whatever, politicized it, and that's what they do. I think that's the most tragic part of all this. Like I always say, and again, another reason for this show, and the reason we've always done Troubled Minds is because you just can't trust what the media tells you. And I think it's important to point out that when you think like this in a conspiratorial way, I think it's critical that you keep one foot in the real world. You just kind of have to. It's so easy to jump down all these rabbit holes and end up on the other side, and just kind of lose your way, right? So anyway, I just hope this cross both fingers and cross whatever you can cross on your body, your legs and your toes or whatever, and just hope and pray that there's no long-term side effects or like this thing goes sideways like really quickly, like in midway through January, they vaccinated millions of people and the shit just goes wrong. Just, like I'm hoping beyond hope, praying and good frequencies and vibrations and all this, that this shakes out and actually works, because the last thing we need right now is more stuff going wrong when everything else is kind of going wrong. So I mean it is what it is. So there we go. Just let's hope it doesn't get worse. And let's see. Johnson says nope. Let's see. Yeah, but how do you reach out to a 12 COVID scientists? There's not exactly a directory of them, is there? Yeah, I think the thing is they reached out to the public health officials in different capacities and got similar statements. I mean, I'm cautiously hopeful here. I just, again, I don't know what to expect, because I think I was looking into some of this, and most vaccines actually take in the range of like between 5 and 10 years to actually go through the trials and all the rest of this stuff. So this one in particular was super fast. So I think those are the things that kind of make me a little bit uneasy. Like, this is definitely unprecedented in human technology that we cranked out a vaccine so quickly. So it's good, but it's also just a smidge concerning that maybe there might be something terrible happen here. So again, like I said, I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping this just shuts it down and brings everything back to normal, and they save the movie theaters and save some of the way of life that's what we've been used to. So anyway, there we go. Just wanted to point this out again. Talking conspiracy, that's what we do. Conspiracy News with Michael Strange, 702-957-1037. We always record this live. You want to be part of the show, give me a call. Also, join the Discord. Troubledminds.org is the official website. That's the original podcast that this kind of spun off of. I am also a host of that. So we do aliens, conspiracy, paranormal stuff over there, where we kind of pick up that second foot off the ground, off of the earth, and kind of go into some deeper rabbit holes, and suspend our disbelief and really talk about how some of these things kind of get in the zeitgeist, and whether there's any traction to believing in them, or people that do believe in them. So anyway, just FYI, that's what that's all about. So let's go. Let's keep talking here. This is another one we got. This is reported by Engadget.com, and this is pretty cool. This is regarding Planet 9. Many of us know what Planet 9 is. Planet 9 is the elusive planet, right? Back to the Anunnaki and Planet X, they've called it, right? Because when Pluto was a planet, Planet X is Planet 10. So anyway, so strange exoplanet discovery makes a case for the elusive Planet 9. The planet is the first of its kind known to have such an eccentric orbit. Okay, so let's see. From the article, it reads this. Scientists have long theorized about a Planet 9 in the solar system with a strange orbit, and there's now more evidence to suggest it's possible. Researchers using the Hubble Space Telescope have determined that a Jovian exoplanet 336 light-years away, HD 106906b, has an orbit so eccentric that it travels past the edge of its binary star system's debris disk and circles every 15,000 years. It's as if Jupiter traveled beyond the Kuiper Belt. If Planet 9 exists, this is how it might orbit the Sun. People first discovered the planet in 2013, but it took Hubble's accurate measurements, including historical info, to calculate the orbit. It's the first planet of this kind known to have this kind of oddball path. It's not certain how this planet achieved the orbit, but the leading theory postulates that it formed close to its host stars, and drag within the gas disk pulled it inward. The gravitational effects of the two stars shot it outward, but a passing star stabilized the orbit and prevented the world from becoming a rogue planet. Which, of course, a rogue planet is one that entirely breaks out from its gravitational bond with the host star and ends up just kind of floating through the galaxy with just a what would you call it, like a planetary bowling ball looking to smash into some things. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. Some actual science here that suggests that Planet 9 or Planet X, Nibiru as it's called, is a thing. Could be a real thing. They've got an actual 15,000-year orbit in this actual planet HD 106906b. That seems like something similar could be happening here. And again, as we've talked about previously on the Troubled Mind show, that there's a gravity signature out there in our solar system that suggests, I think it was 3 or 4 times the size of Earth. Some sort of planet out there is actually doing its thing. and kind of gobbling up actual or leaving a gravity signature. We haven't found it yet, but it looks like there's something out there that we have not found. And yeah, so they're guessing it might be this. It might be something like this, and this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool stuff. Yeah, sorry about that, Nikki. I had it up on the other thing. Here you go. Here's the article. So there we go. So strange again. Engadget, strange exoplanet discovery makes a case for the elusive Planet 9. So pretty good stuff here. This is one of those things that I think we talk about, we look at, and we hope that maybe Planet 9 is a thing here, and hopefully we spot it before it becomes a problem, right? So think about a 15,000 year orbit. Let's say maybe it kind of comes through, and we just talked about like an extinction type event that happens every 3 point some million years or something like that. Just talked about it the last show here. So maybe we have a situation where this thing kind of comes around, and every however often it actually impacts Earth in a terrible way and causes these extinction events. Who knows? Like, who really knows? We're on a cycle here, and yeah, I mean, pretty crazy stuff here. But yeah, so hopefully we'll keep an eye out on our own Planet 9. And this is one from, again, from another solar system that's how far away? This is 336 light years away. But the elliptical orbit is the oddball orbit. Definitely suggests that Planet 9, Planet X, Nibiru could be a thing here in our solar system as well. So pretty cool stuff. Interesting to think about, interesting to talk about. And yeah, yeah, let's keep on moving. This is reported by Yahoo News. And now this is good stuff, right? This is the type of stuff that we talk about on Troubled Minds quite often, because these are the kind of the navel gazing postulations of the universe, right? So here we go. The Yahoo News reports this: an earlier universe existed before the Big Bang and can still be observed today, says Nobel winner. So this is from Sarah Napton, and this is a little bit older, October 6th of this year. But I thought it was pretty cool because we didn't find it and talk about it then, so definitely worth talking about now. So that article says this: an earlier universe existed before the Big Bang and can still be observed today, Sir Roger Penrose has said as he received the Nobel Prize for Physics. Sir Roger, who is 89 years old, won the honor for his seminal work proving that black holes exist. Said he found 6 warm points in the sky, dubbed Hawking points, which are around 8 times the diameter of the moon. They are named after Professor Stephen Hawking, who theorized that black holes leak radiation and eventually evaporate away entirely. The timescale for the complete evaporation of a black hole is huge, possibly longer than the age of our current universe, making them impossible to detect. However, Sir Roger believes that dead black holes from earlier universes, or eons, are observable now. If true, it would prove Hawking's theories were correct. Sir Roger shared the World Prize in Physics with Professor Hawking in 1988 for their work on black holes. And speaking from his home in Oxford, Sir Roger said, "I claim that there is observation of Hawking radiation. The Big Bang was not the beginning. There was something before the Big Bang, and that something is what we will have in our future. We have a universe that expands and expands, and all mass decays away, and in this crazy theory of mine, that remote future becomes the Big Bang of another eon." So our Big Bang began with something which was of the remote future of a previous eon, and there would have been similar black holes evaporating away via Hawking evaporation, and they would produce these points in the sky that I call Hawking points. We are seeing them. These points are about 8 times the diameter of the moon and are slightly warmed up regions. There's a pretty good evidence for at least 6 of these points. Sir Roger has recently published his theory on Hawking points and monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society. Pretty cool stuff. I hadn't seen this when it came out, so I thought, let's talk about this. Yeah, pretty neat stuff. So he's saying that there's actual evidence here of possibly we can detect black holes that have not completely evaporated from previous existences of our very same universe. So the Big Bang is not the Big Bang; it's the Big Bounce, right? Like they're saying, it's that whole. It starts this way, and then we end up repeating ourselves in the same space over and over again. And thinks he's able to detect that, and what that kind of means. Pretty good stuff. Let's see, what else? What's up, Super Vike? I see you there. Thanks for showing up. All right, so let's keep on moving here. Here's another one. Let's get back to Earth here and stop navel gazing, talking about some weirdness in the universe. Let's talk about some weirdness in the digital universe. All right, this is from threatpost.com. Spotify changes passwords after another data breach. Oh, another one. Spotify. Okay, Spotify has alerted users that some of their registration data was inadvertently exposed to a third-party business partner, including emails, preferred display names, passwords, gender, and dates of birth. This is at least the third breach in less than a month for the world's largest streaming service. A statement from Spotify about the incident said the exposure was due to a software vulnerability that existed from April 9th until November 12th when it was corrected. Think about that. A software vulnerability that existed from April 9th until November 12th. November 12th. Oh my goodness. That's a long time, right? Quote, we take any loss of personal information very seriously and are taking steps to help protect you and your personal information. The statement released December 9th read, we have conducted an internal investigation and have contacted all of our business partners that may have had access to your account information to ensure that any personal information that may have been inadvertently disclosed to them has been deleted. Well, there you go. Now you know it's been deleted, and you guys have nothing to worry about, so you will. Yeah. The announcement comes just a handful of days after the streaming service's most popular star pages were taken over by a malicious actor named Daniel, who hijacked Spotify artist pages, including Dua Lipa and Pop Smoke. I don't know who those people are. That's how old I am. To proclaim his love of Trump and Taylor Swift. I know who they are, and that's funny. All right, let's see. The incident during its highly publicized year-end Spotify Wrapped 2020 announcement of the year's most popular streams. Funny stuff. Just a week prior to that incident, in late November, Spotify was on the receiving end of a rash of account takeovers following a credential stuffing operation. In this type of attack, threat actors bet on people reusing passwords. They try stolen passwords and IDs on different services to gain access to a range of accounts. So, yeah. All right, there we go. That's navel gazing in the universe to your shit's getting hacked. Sorry, what's up, Noble Keller? I see there. This is nuts. This is nutters. All right, here we go. We're not supposed to talk about this. This is one of those ones that'll get you taken down off the internet because too hot to handle, too hot and spicy. But this is an actual forensics report from Allied Security Operations Group. Okay. Many of you probably haven't seen this because the media does not cover jack shit. All they do is say, "Oh, there's no evidence of election tampering and no widespread fraud and et cetera, so on." Okay, but here's an actual forensics report. All right, this is from the client is Bill Bailey. The attorney is Matthew D. Perno. Who they are? Okay, so this is let me just read a part of this real fast, and then we'll cut to the chase and get to the hot and spicy stuff that might get us banned forever from the internet. So here we go. Who we are. Number one, my name is Russell James Ramsland Jr., and I am a resident of Dallas County, Texas. I hold an MBA from Harvard University and a political science degree from Duke University. I have worked with the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, that would be NASA, and Massachusetts Institute of Technology, that would be MIT, among other organizations, and have run businesses all over the world, many of which are highly technical in nature. I have served on technical government panels. All right. So now these individuals, the Allied Security Operations Group, were, let's see, what were they up to? They were doing this. Okay, so they were actually auditing these voting machines, right? So let's get to the hot and spicy part. Here we go. So let's see. Part two. I am part of the management team of Allied Security Operations Group, LLC. ASOG is a group of globally engaged professionals who come from various disciplines to include Department of Defense, Secret Service, Department of Homeland Security, and the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency. It provides a range of security services, but it has a particular emphasis on cybersecurity, open source investigation, and penetration testing of networks. All right. So blah, blah, so on and so forth. Now, this is an entire report, right? They got data. They got all kinds of stuff. I'm going to just scroll through this so you guys can see this page after page after page. This is what you would expect like an actual, investigation to look like, in my opinion. You have, they boots on the ground. They've got photographs of these actual voting machines. They did audits on the forensic audits on the software itself. And all this other stuff, right? So, of course, nobody's reporting this because this is the inconvenient truth that, well, let's just read their conclusions. So, purpose and preliminary conclusions. Of course, this investigation is ongoing because, well, That's just the way investigations go. But this is what they've determined so far. Number one, the purpose of this forensic audit is to test the integrity of Dominion voting system and how it performed in Antrim County, Michigan for the 2020 election. This is just one county in Michigan, all right? So number two, now this is the hot and spicy part. There you go. Hold on to your butts. You might get, I don't know, you might get a knock on your door right now as I read this. Number two, we conclude that the Dominion voting system is intentionally and purposefully designed with inherent errors to create systemic fraud and influence election results. The system intentionally generates an enormously high number of ballot errors. The electronic ballots are then transferred for adjudication. The intentional errors lead to bulk adjudication of ballots with no oversight, no transparency, and no audit trail. This leads to voter or election fraud. Based on our study, we conclude that the Dominion's voting system should not be used in Michigan. We further conclude that the results of Antrim County should not have been certified. Let that hang in the air for just a moment. But again, like, this is the type of thing. So is this real? I'm not so ignorant. Okay. I wasn't born yesterday to realize that this could be fake. This could be a fake report. This could be some partisans paid to say some shit and ruffle some feathers and make up some bullshit. That's the way the world works today. That's the way the world's always worked. Okay. But if it's not, and this is actually like an independent group of experts that audited these particular machines, and they're saying that what I just read, that's the holy shit, right? That's the OMG of what's going on right here. Of, which again, I don't know, right? I don't know. I think that's the point. We're not supposed to know. It's supposed to be so obfuscated behind the media wash of no voter fraud to when we know that people cheat. Like we talked about this on the Troubled Mind show. People freaking cheat. It's just the way it goes. And so as a result of this, we have an actual audit ongoing, and these guys concluded that there were inherent errors to create systemic fraud and influence election results. And they actually determined it to be intentional. So these are the same machines that were used all over the damn place. And so this is one county. I'll link this again, like always, and you guys can read this whole report for yourself. It's fascinating. Like I said, 23 pages worth of them, boots on the ground, actually going and doing forensic analysis and looking at these machines and doing audits and the rest of this stuff. And they can't even determine like some of the shenanigans that was going on with this stuff. They don't even know exactly what and why. So pretty nuts. Exactly. So Noble Callow says, just one county? Could there be more? And exactly, because these are the same machines, the Dominion voting machines, right? So this is just an audit on one county. And so that's the thing, right? And again, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't have that smoking gun proof, but I have a hunch. It seems suspicious. It seems like this is one of those situations where it didn't seem right. It didn't sit well with me the way it just kind of flipped overnight. Remember the Georgia thing, and they're like, oh, we had the pipe burst, and then suddenly 100,000 ballots rolled in for not even 100, like hundreds of thousands rolled in overnight as they sent people home to and not count votes, and then the votes kept getting counted. There's just some shenanigans. Not even counting this now. Now this is the type of stuff that's that literally turns everything on its head. Dominion voting system. So hopefully somebody will have the balls to report this and actually talk about this. That's usually not the case. This will get suppressed like crazy. But like I said, let's not be fools. This is very possible. This is a partisan smokescreen. Okay, we don't know. We don't know if this is the case or not. So just want to throw that out there. Just like we talked about last show, like with the Julian Assange thing and Trump about to pardon him and this type of stuff, like fake news happens and it spreads quickly. And yeah, so who knows? But it is worth pointing out, and definitely crazy. Okay, so here we go. A couple more. What do we got here? All right, here's another one. This is pretty cool. This is from Twitter, and this is from the blackvault.com, at blackvault.com on Twitter. And this is, let's see. This is John Greenwald Jr., all right? He's a cool guy, and he does the UFO stuff, and he does a FOIA request, the Freedom of Information Act, all right? And so he actually did a request on a particular thing. Let's see. Let's pull this up. Is that the one? No. Let's see. All right. Here we go. This is, all right. So he did a FOIA request on the NSA, National Security Agency. Okay. And he says this. He got the response. Here we go. Let's read right from the response in FOIA. He requested a copy of records which include videos or photos, electronic or otherwise, of the following: all communications, emails, letters, memos, etc., between your agency, which would be the NSA, and representatives of Google Incorporated regarding the use of Google search technology for law enforcement and intelligence purposes. Okay, that's what he asked for in his FOIA, which dated December 7th, 2020. All right, so they actually they received it on the 6th, and on the 7th they responded and sent him this, and he received this just this week. So he wanted to know if there was any sort of Google search technology happening with law enforcement and intelligence, right? So basically he wanted to know if Operation Mockingbird was still in effect, right? Project Mockingbird, that whole thing. We've talked about that quite a lot, where the mainstream, the press, and which of course would be Google at this point because they're such a huge organization, right? Tentacles and everything. If they're working with the government for law enforcement or intelligence purposes. So the response is this. We have determined that the fact of the existence or non-existence of the materials you request is currently and properly classified matter in accordance with Executive Order 13526 as set forth in subparagraph 4 or C of section 1.4. Thus, your request is denied pursuant to the first exemption of the FOIA, which provides that the FOIA does not apply to matters that are specifically authorized under criteria established by an executive order to be kept secret in the interest of national defense or foreign relations and are, in fact, properly classified pursuant to such executive order. Okay, now this is actually what's known as a GLOMAR response. Now, a GLOMAR response, now let's go to Wikipedia, the Ministry of Truth, just for the definition purpose here. Now, a GLOMAR response is exactly what that was. They basically said, we cannot confirm or deny. Okay, that's what they said. So here we go. Let's read some of this. In United States law, the term GLOMAR response, also known as glomarization or GLOMAR denial, refers to a response to a request for information that will neither confirm nor deny the existence of the information sought. For example, in response to a request for police reports relating to a certain individual, where was I? The police agency may respond with the following. Quote, we can neither confirm nor deny that our agency has any records matching your request. And that's exactly what this is, right? So it's a non-answer. It's citing national security and saying that we can't tell you, which may or may not mean this is happening. Okay, so I think it was a smart FOIA to put out there by John Greenwald Jr. Again, doing good work. I admire the guy a lot because he's actually trying to get information from the government instead of people like me that just kind of bitches and moans about it. Like he's actually doing something, right? So I think it's important that when he gets information like this, it gets spread out. It gets actually covered by somebody because the mainstream's not going to pick it up. They're not going to imply that Google is working with the NSA for maybe data collection or national security or whatever, right? And I think it's probably I think me personally, I would say, yeah. I mean, this is happening, right? Like this is happening. So anyway, just one of those things I think it's important to look at here. Again, if you guys have not followed this guy, if you're on Twitter, follow John Greenwald Jr. He's at BlackVaultCom. And amazing stuff this guy reports. And it's not just stuff like this. He does FOIAs on Bigfoot and UFOs and some of that other stuff that we love to talk about. So he definitely has a ton of documents. I think he has over 2 million pages of documents on his website, theblackvault.com. So pretty amazing shit. And GLOMAR response regarding the NSA and Google and their search technology for law enforcement and intelligence purposes. Yeah. All right, let's see. There's another one here. All right, so let's see. We'll finish up with these. These are a couple fun ones. We are live, so again, if you want to be part of the show, taking phone calls, watching the Discord, 702-957-1037. This is Conspiracy News with Michael Strange, and the official website's troubledminds.org. This is a companion piece to the Troubled Minds podcast because we had too much to talk about over there, so we had to expand and talk about some of the news that we miss. Because, like I said, remember, guys, I always said there's enough to do 5 days a week. Like there's so much news that comes out that just gets blown away, just washed out of the public eye by the mainstream media. And this is like a whole batch of amazing shit that we talked about today, just today. And it just keeps coming. Like I was a little worried, like, oh shit, is there really 5 days a week worth? Yeah, that's probably 10 days a week worth of just this stuff kind of coming out. If you all you got to do is dig a little bit, and you find some of this stuff that's really troubling. So Super Mike wants to know, but what does Snopes say? yeah, right. What does Snopes say about all these things? Yeah, Snopes can screw off. Liars, thieves, propagandist assholes. Okay, here we go. Couple more and then we'll finish this up. This is a shorter show. We do about an hour. Talk about the news on a daily basis. Only hot piping stuff where it's brand new, and you can kind of just listen to this on your commute. That's really been the idea, and just kind of kick back and listen to some stuff that you might not hear otherwise. I think it's important to do it. Important to kind of talk about this and get the information out. So here we go. This is from Bellingcat.com, and so remember not too long ago in the United Kingdom, we had the Novichok poisoning of Sergei and Yulia Skripal, which was then considered to be an assassination attempt that led to the death of one British citizen and the poisoning of Emelian Gebrev in Bulgaria. So they were poisoned in the United Kingdom with Novichok. And Novichok, of course, is a Russian nerve agent, supposedly built in a Russian lab. And so this is a team, again, a research team that went and looked into this. And let's see, an investigative team. All right, Bellingcat. So here we go. So here's the other. I'm going to link this other part. This is the actual investigation. Okay. So here we go. This is where they got where you can read the information, just like that on the voter fraud thing and the Dominion voting systems. There's an entire report on this. So the second one I linked is what it is. This first one's an article referencing that second one. Okay, so here we go. In a previous series of investigations, Bellingcat uncovered evidence that Russia's military intelligence agency, the GRU, was responsible for both the Novichok poisoning of Sergei and Yulia Skripal, like we said, and the poisoning of Emelian Gebrev in Bulgaria. We also determined that Russia's principal security agency, the FSB, was behind the assassination of a Georgian asylum seeker on German soil. In a further joint investigation, Bellingcat uncovered evidence that Russia has not terminated its chemical weapons program, but has instead disguised its development capability behind a network of state-run institutes. Following the official closure of Russia's military-run chemical weapons program in 2010, its core scientists were rehired by institutes which engage in ostensibly civilian research. In reality, these scientists continue to provide chemical weapons development and manufacturing support to Russia's security services. So, like everything else in government, right? What do? They just disentangle it from the government. They farm it out to private corporations, private companies that, of course, when you're talking about Russia or China or places like this, they're basically state-owned anyway. So it's not like, like a private agency is really that private. But they actually went through and said that, Russia's responsible for this. We have an investigation that proves this. And here's all the information. So Novichok poisoning still happening, not to mention Vladimir Putin. Just recently, he had that the guy that was running against him in his presidential election over there. That guy ended up poisoned on an airplane. You guys remember that? That was pretty recent. I mean, Vladimir Putin's not a guy you want to cross because he doesn't screw around, right? Like I said, the world's a crazy place, and over here, we bitch and moan as journalists that they didn't let me in the White House, right? Like, well, if you weren't such a belligerent asshole, then they might let you in, But these are the gripes we have over here. But like I mentioned last show, Jamal Khashoggi, right? This guy, he shows up in an embassy to get like a passport, and they snatch him up, drag him in, and cut him up alive, right? Places like they poison you with Novichok if you're running against Putin and actually gaining popular support. I mean, the world's a dangerous and crazy place. And like I said, kind of at the beginning with the hungry kids and the COVID and the rest of this, it's just important to keep your eye on the ball and not forget that to be just grateful that we don't live in places like this. Maybe some of you do. I know we have listeners all over the world, and some of you do live in places where this shit goes down. So let's be grateful that we don't live in these banana republic third world the dictatorships, basically, where if you're the wrong dude, like right now, just talking about it, they might kick in my door and like drag me out of here and cut me into pieces like Jamal Khashoggi. You know what I mean? Like there's room to speak the truth, and I think it has to be said. And the mainstream won't cover it, so we're going to talk about it. Okay, so there we go. Just pointing this out again. You guys can all, as always, go in depth in this and read this. I encourage you to do it yourself because this is important information for the rest of the world and for us, that we know what this looks like when it comes to our shores. So we can be vigilant here, vigilant in the West and Australia and United Kingdom and New Zealand and Canada and everywhere else. Right, the Five Eyes that are trying to preserve human rights in some capacity, but we're caving. It's getting ugly, in my opinion. So anyway, information on the Novichok poisoning. They say, yes, it definitely was Russia, according to these guys. But again, I'm not so stupid as to just say, because these guys say it's the truth. Who knows? It could be, and I'm just throwing this out there, I don't know, but it could be another state actor that's trying to frame Russia for, you know what I mean? Like, these types of things really happen. So just FYI. Always with a grain of salt. You never know. You got to consult the source or consider the source in the rest of this. So anyway, all right, let's finish this up with a fun one, and then we're done. And then we'll be back in a couple hours here to do actual Troubled Minds, where we talk about all the crazy stuff, like the crazy stuff. All right, so this one's a little bit, we've been talking about this for the last show we did with Troubled Minds. We talked about this, but this is a new website called thedebrief.com, and it's pretty good stuff: science, technology, space, defense, aerospace, and they talk about the same stuff we like to. It's some of the guys from UFO Twitter: Danny Silva, Tim McMillan. And this is one of the guys that reported. Tim McMillan reported that balloon. We kind of made fun of that balloon that looked like a UFO. So here we go. Now this is Tim McMillan reporting on the ex-Israeli Space Chiefs Galactic Federation is based on alien conspiracy theories. He says this is straight from the article. So let's go to this. Read a little bit of this for the folks that don't listen to the other podcasts, so maybe they can get a taste of what we do over there. But here we go. So straight from the article. A media frenzy recently erupted after comments attributed to a leading figure in Israeli's space program suggested the U.S. government has a secret agreement with an extraterrestrial galactic federation. In an article originally published in Israel's Yediot Aharonot newspaper, my Hebrew is awful, former head of Israel's Defense Ministry's Space Directorate, Haim Eshed, said cooperation agreements had been signed between the United States and a federation of extraterrestrials, which included an interspecies underground base in the depths of Mars. Supposedly, President Donald Trump was aware of the aliens' existence and had been on the verge of revealing information. Eshed is a highly decorated and revered figure in Israeli space circles, often referred to as the father of Israel's satellite program. Okay, so following up on these extraordinary claims, filmmaker Jeremy Corbell recently interviewed Raanan Shaked, the Israeli journalist who conducted the now viral interview with Eshed. According to Shaked, Eshed is a believer in UFOs and extraterrestrials. However, the man whose article sent eyebrows shooting skyward suggests some of Eshed's comments have been overblown and taken out of context. In the YouTube interview, Yediot Aharonot journalist Raanan Shaked, these names, I tell you what, shared his surprise at the firestorm of attention his article about Eshed gained in the world press. Quote, usually articles that are published here don't get that much coverage from world media unless they have something to do with security issues or that sort of stuff, he chuckled. According to Shaked, Eshed is a believer in UFOs, saying nearly a quarter of the former Israeli space chief's recently released book, The Universe Beyond the Horizon, is about the UFO subject. However, though he is a UFO enthusiast, Shaked says some of Eshed's most controversial comments are likely being taken out of context. Okay, so I was actually going to go through that Jeremy Corbell interview and actually play some of that tonight on the show. So we're going to do part 2 of the Galactic Federation, because this is like the story that will not die. This is what what continues to happen. I don't know. I'm not completely sold on that yet. I don't know if Ash can be there tonight. He's the co-host on Troubled Minds, if you guys don't know. So maybe we'll save that for Friday for him, because he loves the aliens and he's all over that. So I'm not so sure. I haven't decided exactly on what's happening tonight, but yeah, this is like you would expect. Okay. Like when somebody comes out and like pops off and says, hey, Galactic Federation, there's aliens everywhere, right? You're going to get all kinds of press one way or the other. And I'm not sure why you're surprised at that. Why these guys are surprised that, oh, wow, the world picked it up and ran with it. And then now there's articles like, from every major news news organization in the entire world, like pumping this out on a daily basis. Like, yeah, well, no shit. You said Galactic Federation, dude. I mean, come on, right? So anyway, that's what's up. That's what this is. If you guys haven't seen this, I know many of you have because you're you're troubled minds enthusiasts as well. So this is the type of stuff we love to talk about over there and kind of speculate, like kind of suspend our disbelief and wonder if this could be true. And if it is true, see what some of the let's just cut to it and say if it is true.
Ancient astronaut theorists say yes.
Exactly. So that's what we talk about over there. And Supervike says the Galactic Federation has been a part of the alien conspiracy for years. It's nothing new. And that's exactly right. That's exactly correct. And again, right, that's why we talk about this stuff, because it comes out, it gets a ton of press, and people they run with it. They run with it. And it ends up being blown out of proportion the world over. And like you said, it's nothing new. To people that kind of follow the alien mythology and some of the claims that have been made over the past decades or years and years and years, it's this stuff seems like it comes back. It just kind of comes back in these cycles based on some guy that, because of his dealings with a like national security type operation. So they give him a lot of credence, and he's writing a book and selling books. And so, yeah, I don't know. Again, like that's one of the things we'll talk about over there on Troubled Minds. Just wanted to point this out to some of you folks on maybe listening to this podcast that maybe have not known about this. I thought we'd point it out, but we'll keep an eye on it as it develops. As all of these things, we'll always keep an eye on this stuff, because the weird thing about news today is news tomorrow changes it, okay, as corrections are made or updates or this or that or the other thing. But whereas this is going to get a shit ton of press now, the Galactic Federation, when this, it actually winds up being, kind of walked back and corrected, per se, that doesn't get the coverage. It just kind of goes away, and so kind of adds to the alien mythology and everything else. So anyway, just pointing that out, that's why we do this, etc. So on. All right, let's do this. I don't have the thing queued up, and we're a little bit over time, so I'm going to just read our basic our not Patreons. The people that actually support this show. We have lots of folks that are supporting this show. This is brand new. This is episode 3, and we're going to keep talking the news. And it's like I said, an expansion of Troubled Minds itself. And this is let's see. We've got some people that are actually supporting this show, and I want to make sure we keep them close, because they are making this happen. Okay, so here we go. So these are folks that have contributed to the show so far. As we started, we got AJ Dare, we got Arc Platinum, we got Axel Steel 3, Dark Devious, FGC Spiral, we got Johnson, we got Lizzie Daggs, we got Monochromatic, Nikki Nix, we got Noble Kal-El, Often Frozen, and Supervike 1. So just a shout out to you guys. Much love. Thank you so much. Spread the word. Do your thing. I know that if you're here, you're here from Troubled Minds and love the overflow and love that we miss the news over there. But like I said, 5 days a week. 5 days a week. There's time for this. There is definitely time for this, and there's definitely enough news to go over. That was always the tragic thing, right? We'd get into the other podcast and just not be able to get to some of the really juicy shit that really I think should be covered a little bit more. So anyway, there we go. We're done with this. We'll be back tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific, and for Troubled Minds Radio. If you guys don't know what that is, go to troubledminds.org, and we do it live just like this. We do it very much the same way. We get participation from chat. We stream on Facebook and YouTube and everything else over there as well. So that one is not on Twitch for the monetization purposes. Twitch won't allow it, but that's okay. Join us over there, and troubledminds.org will be streaming directly on the website, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about: aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal. And you guys are great. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here tonight. And let's play some outro music that sounds a little something like this. And that's it. We're done. You're listening to Conspiracy News with Michael Strange. And we'll be back tomorrow at the same time, 4 p.m. Pacific, to talk more news. More of the things the mainstream media likes to sweep under the rug. Thanks for hanging out. Spread the word. There's a new newsman in town, and his name is Michael Strange. Thanks very much, guys. And with that said, signing out. And we'll catch you soon. Be safe out there. Be good to each other. And adios. I don't know. What do I say here? Goodbye, goodbye. Signing out. Have a good one, guys. Catch you soon.